So, guys, I have been made aware by a chatter that Asmongold, apparently, has had some of the most just hypocritical, immediately flip-flopping takes on internet censorship this week. So I thought it's a good opportunity to just go over quite how dishonest, how much of a grifter this total loser is. So let's take a look at this first. So Asmongold covered the Online Safety Act. It's a 13-minute video. The internet is in danger.
This is a massive update, like a huge update to the internet. So new rules to protect children online enforced from today.
As of today, the UK's internet has changed. There are strict new rules in place designed to put children's safety online at the heart of our scrolling. Codes are now being enforced, and they'll change how adults can go online too.
For some services, this will mean putting in place highly effective age checks so that children can't access the service because fundamentally the service is not safe for children. So a pornography site, for example.
Yeah.
For other services...
this is definitely going to stop 12-year-old boys from looking at boobs on the internet. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely, Karen. You've really finally tricked them, and now they're not going to be able to get around you this time, huh? Oh, yeah.
This will mean other changes, such as making sure that their algorithms don't promote harmful content to children.
The most obvious change for adults overnight was this new strict
inquiry
age
with
verification.
persona.
These new age checks should stop under 18s from accessing pornography sites and should stop them seeing pornography on their social media feeds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you've obviously... Oh, what, she's wearing a mask?
It's so crazy that they're putting their hands in private companies.
Okay, let's see.
Yoti is one of the age verification...
I keep saying this. If it's going to be done through private companies, we should just be doing it through the government instead. Just be digital IDs. I don't know why you would let companies do digital IDs for you and not let the government do it. I'd much rather it's handled by something that is accountable to the people than a private company. But for some reason, everyone has just decided to let this fly past us and be implemented in just like the worst, most dystopian way possible. Which is great.
Systems many companies are now using to stop young people accessing inappropriate content.
Sure.
It uses AI to estimate users' ages and is precise enough that it can't even be tricked using massive...
It can't be tricked? What are you talking about? They tricked it with Death Stranding 2. I talked about this yesterday. What do you mean it can't be tricked? So anyway, just so you guys can see this, Death Stranding.
Okay, I don't really care about all this. But apparently, yeah, people using Death Stranding 2 and holding it up to the screen, and they could get the age verification
website. Maybe it's 21. Then you have to do, you know, an age check. So it's very much the same with computer age estimation.
The idea behind these new age checks and algorithm changes is to stop teenagers stumbling across harmful content.
I think that they also have to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the fact that the reason why these kids are being negatively affected by this harmful content primarily is because they have shitty parents. But it's a lot easier for the parents to blame the government and to blame Google for the reason why they can't raise their kid right. But yeah, parents want to blame the companies because it's easy. It's like they want to blame McDonald's for their kids being fat.
I mean, it's just like, this is stupid. It's a broad social issue. All parents are shitty to some extent. There's huge pressures that mean that kids end up with phones, even if the parents initially think they're not going to do that. It's just way more complicated than Asmongold's making out here. There does sometimes need to be policy to take care of this sort of stuff, but it's being done in a terrible way.
Taking your kids to McDonald's.
At a youth club in Warrington, teenagers told us that
if I had a kid, I'd let him go on the internet as early as he wanted. Like, if he wants to be 7 years old going on the internet, go ahead. Go ahead, find out. You want to be 11 years old watching ISIS executions? Go ahead. You're going to find out. That's the real world. And no, I'm literally not even memeing. I'm not even joking. You sure? Yeah, of course. Of course, because that's the real world. Like, I think as a parent,
why is Kuihman wearing a zip-up hoodie? What fucking planet are you living on? What fucking planet are you living on where you're looking at the screen right now and you see me in a zip-up hoodie? Are you okay?
Your kid for the real world. You can't go and bubble wrap his whole life, but the difference is that I have confidence that I would be able to be like, yeah, son, so like that's what happens if you fuck around. They'd be like, oh, damn, that's crazy. I said, yeah, so you don't want to go over there because they're crazy. And he'd be like, oh, okay, right? And so that's it. Backwards ass take? No, absolutely not. But like, I understand that like the way that I look at it isn't really the norm. Like, I was on the internet all the time. It was fine for me. But, you know, I would also supervise what my kid was doing. It's not like I would just go ahead and be like, well, you know, just do whatever you want, Billy. No, I'd say, okay, well, there's this thing, that thing, and the other thing, and make sure to avoid this.
Wow,
right?
Asmongold's parenting. Asmongold's hypothetical parenting. Wow. I bet Asmongold would be such a great dad if he had a kid, wouldn't he, guys? Well, he'd totally implement all these rules, and he'd be constantly there, and he'd really look after his kid. He totally wouldn't be the same anxious mess he is now without a child. except also letting a child grow up in a negligent way. Totally wouldn't be the case, guys. He totally wouldn't still lay on his floor for 6 hours after he finished his stream because he has an anxiety attack, or leave his house in a completely unclean state, disgusting shit all over the floor and shelves and everything. Totally wouldn't be like that, guys. He would look after his kid perfectly. Not just that, but he would monitor all their internet usage too. He would monitor all their internet usage and make sure they're only going on stuff that wouldn't hurt their fragile young mind. Okay.
Not like that's it. Makes sense. Yeah, of course.
If you're going into
it's not easy to raise kids.
An online
yeah, probably
space
not.
And you're expecting kind of simplicity and everything to be nice and tame, you're kind of going in quite naive because, you know, it's a very, very malicious place in the grand scheme of it.
So I do think there should be more restrictions in that, and the report and block system needs to be better.
Yeah, probably not.
I think it's a good idea to have more restrictions because, especially for like children younger than us, there's some things that are so accessible.
The government has described these rules as the biggest step forward in children's safety online since the creation of the internet.
Oh, jeez.
The families who
like every single person in this entire video is a Karen.
Already lost children because of online harm. The regulations don't go far enough. Ellen's son, Jules, died when he was 40 after he was thought to have watched harmful content online.
So he killed himself because he saw an internet. So wait a minute. So you think your kid killed himself because he saw a video on the internet?
Incredibly smart.
I don't think that's very smart engagement, is it, Asmongold? He's probably seeing repeated pro-suicide content, suicide methods, stuff like that. I think it's probably more the sorts of things they're talking about there. Whatever, man. Whatever. Surely he won't flip these positions.
Is that it?
Funny, but had a very quick wit.
Surely, guys, he won't. Surely, guys, when he realizes Trump is backing a similar bill in the US, he won't totally flip all of his positions on this.
On Sunday.
And so why? So why'd he kill himself?
That's particularly hard. People always think, well, that's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my child. And actually, the more we talk about it, it could be your child. I didn't expect it to be my child. I had no thought cross my mind at all.
She doesn't just want changes to algorithms.
What the fuck does this have to do with the internet? Your kid kills himself and now nobody else can look at porn? I'm not putting two on top of two here.
Saying porn sites are 18, yet you can go on social media at 16 and see things like that that you shouldn't be seeing.
Right.
How are those? Where's the similarity?
You're on social media at 13, no?
The government says these rules are just the first step in their campaign to protect children online. For many, these changes have been too long coming.
Yeah, your kid kills himself, and then somehow nobody else can look at boobs. What a stupid fucking Karen rationalization. Maybe you should have been a better parent. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with your kid. But the whole
very
world
edgy
needs
and
to
awesome,
change
man.
because of this. Give me a fucking break. What a
Fuck
joke.
your dead
Who
kid,
cares?
actually.
Like that's one person.
Fuck
like,
your dead kid,
now,
actually.
Now the whole
Nice
world
one,
has to
Asmongold.
change because of this
Very
one thing.
edgy.
It's outrageous.
Very cool.
It's crazy. How do you think like this? How the fuck do you think like this? It's insane. And so anyway, what a dumb bitch. Yeah, what a dumb bitch. And so anyway, it's a 1% thing. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck your dead kid, you dumb bitch.
Stumbled over boobs and died. Fuck, man. Yeah, like what kid looks up boobs on the internet and then wants to kill himself? Fuck, I think that's like the main reason not to. It doesn't even make
that's what
sense.
they were talking about, 100%.
Well, anyway, I don't know her story, and apparently she's not even telling it, which means that maybe she doesn't know his story either. Maybe that's part of the reason why he killed himself. I've got no fucking idea. But I'll tell you one thing. A lot of these kids that pop off and turn into school shooters, violent people, or they kill themselves, whatever, you go back and you look at it and you see the parents aren't involved with.
Maybe that's part of it. Well, maybe you feeding your mother cigarettes is part of why she died. Have we considered that, Asmongold? Thank you for the $5, Tetris Chemist.
Losing their kid and cries and sobs over his mother Erin Bushnelling herself and his father who's likely terminal.
You know, usually I would say that's a terrible thing to say and you shouldn't say that. But the thing is that Asmongold is literally popping off saying, fuck your dead kid, you dumb bitch. Maybe the reason he killed himself because you didn't talk to him enough. So it's like, what am I supposed to say? Like, this guy's perfectly willing to do this to other people. Why the fuck would anyone give him that charity back, you know? I'm fine with making jokes about fucked up things. It's a courtesy to not do super fucked up things to people who don't ask for it. But if Asmongold's willing to break that boundary...
with anything, they totally ignore the fucking kid. Brutal. I'm not being brutal. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. And the end result, and here's the problem. Here's the reason why I'm being brutal and honest about that. You could say I'm being brutally honest. And the reason why is because I don't want to see more kids like this kill themselves. And the way that you avoid that is you prevent people from making an excuse of saying, oh,
Asmongold, when you make fun of his dead mother or cancer-riddled ad, how dare you? Asmongold, when your kid dies, Karen.
Yeah, for real. Bear in mind that Asmongold engages in this exact same behavior as this woman, by the way. These people mock his mum dying or whatever, and then he's signing on and cheering on fucking lawsuits and shit. So, Asmongold is literally the exact same as as this woman in terms that he's shit talking here in terms of impulse. Something bad happens to him. He wants the whole environment changed. He wants laws put in. He wants legislation or judicial outcomes. It's the exact same mindset.
It's okay that, like, I didn't do X, Y, and Z thing because it's actually Google's fault that Billy jumped off a bridge. No. Nope. Absolutely not. And so anyway, and there are some cases, I'm sure, where the internet does play a role in having a kid kill themselves. Absolutely, sure it happens. Definitely it happens. But to say this is like some kind of commonality, I don't think so, right? Look at the dislike ratio. Yeah, a lot of people don't like this at all. Blame starts with lazy parents. Well, this is the reason why I think a lot of people are angry. It's because they have lazy, dumb parents that want to blame the internet for the fact that they weren't present in their child's life, and then the kid kills himself, right? That's the reason why people are frustrated. But I do think that this is, by the way, this is only going to get worse. It's going to get more extreme. And you're going to see even more rules on the internet. Right now is only the beginning. I predict in 5 to 10 years, we will already see, if not have experienced, real ID on the internet in almost all regards and almost all scenarios. And I think that also what this is going to push, this is a secondary effect of it, is that it's going to push to create a segmented, regional internets. So for example, I think a great example of this happening right now is South Korea. So South Korea has a lot. South Korea probably has some of the most, not oppressive isn't the right word, comprehensive rules for being on social media, playing online video games, etc. Like, you have to upload everything in order, like, you have to have a social security number to play League of Legends, basically. Like, that's North Korea? No, it's not. It's South Korea. Look it up. I know what I'm talking about here. And so anyway, yes, and anyway, South Korean ID is based everywhere. Yes, exactly. And like China, well, I'm not sure about China. I can't confirm that. I don't know that. And also, I think North Korea, I heard from people on the internet that North Korea also is pretty restrictive with what they let you do too.
Yeah,
but
you think?
I was talking about South Korea. And so anyway, what I think is going to happen is that South Korean, a lot of their different social media websites and people and things like this, they are separated from the rest of the world, right? Like, they have different streaming websites. They have different, like fucking, what do you call it? And this isn't everybody, right? But it's just like a general trend. Different streaming websites. They have different video websites. They have different social media websites. And so, like, they're basically in their own world. And I think that's what's going to happen to the internet as a whole, is that the internet is going to stop being the World Wide Web, and it's going to become regional webs that have interconnected elements between them. And the reason why is because as the internet has stopped being this just apparatus that exists separate from the real world, it is now something that everybody in the real world works in, right? Everybody is using the internet. Like all of your probably parents and grandparents are using the internet nowadays. And so you can't, like, back in 2006, the internet was an alternate reality. In 2025, the internet is reality. The internet is where people spend usually, and I'm not even kidding, and we all know this is true, people spend more time on the internet than they do in real life. They worry about the centralization of information, but it's inevitable. I think that here's really where the worry is, and here's the main reason why people are concerned.
Okay,
so the reason why people are concerned is very simply because this can also be used as a reason to censor political opinions, to basically silence dissent, to implement harder speech laws and speech regulations that then make it to where people are less likely to speak out against current issues. So don't go and act like I don't understand where these problems are coming from. I definitely understand where the problems are coming from. All I'm saying is that I think this is inevitable. That's the actual issue. Yes, it is an actual issue. 100% it is. Yeah, there
we're gonna watch
due to local laws, we are temporarily restricting access to this content until X estimates your age. UK government are now exploiting the Online Safety Act to censor footage of protests. And so that's really where the problem is. I mean, I think that we all can kind of agree that
so it's being specifically used against the anti-immigration protests.
And this is really just a problem waiting to happen. But the problem is that most, my mom used to always tell me the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I feel like that's very clearly what the problem with this is. And to this problem is they're censoring things that don't need censoring. Of course they are, because they're being overzealous in order to avoid a lawsuit, because they don't know where the line is, because that line hasn't been drawn by previous legal precedent. So they're going overboard and they're censoring extra things because they're worried about getting sued or getting in trouble in the long term. That's the reason why. So yeah.
Okay. So first minute or so, this is apparently important as well.
And they're censoring the protests. So are there actual big protests going on? UK protests? Wait, why is nobody talking about this? What the fuck? They're getting censored? We have it bad here? Well, let's take a look at some of these.
Rain has really dampened things down. Until a short time ago, there were hundreds and hundreds of people here protesting outside the Brook Hotel. We're on the outskirts of Norwich, very much against the fact that asylum seekers are being put up inside that hotel. Then on the other...
Big mistake, bro. You got people that are homeless, but you're dealing with asylum seekers? You're worrying about asylum seekers? Why don't you give asylum to the people that are living in the country that can't fucking afford shit? Why don't you give them asylum first, then maybe...
About was a group of people very much in support of those people who've come to this country, many of them on small boats. They actually left already. That was a planned ending at 3:15 before the rain really began. But actually, it had been...
The rest is just protests? Okay. So that's all we need from here. Now, let's read briefly about this bill that's going through in the US. Kids Online Safety Act. Known in the House and the general public commonly as the Kids Online Safety Act, is a proposed legislation first introduced in Congress in 2022. The bill aims to establish guidelines to protect minors from harmful material on social media platforms through a duty of care system requiring covered platforms to disable addicting features, design features to minors. So yeah, it's about putting duty of care provisions on platforms. Guides on child online safety, most notably banning companies from knowingly collecting data from anyone under 13 without the parental consent. Take measures to reduce online dangers for users via a duty of care provision, requiring internet service platforms to comply by reducing and preventing harmful practices towards minors, including bullying and violence, content promoting suicide, eating disorders, substance abuse, sexual exploitation, advertisements for illegal products such as drugs, tobacco, alcohol. If signed into law, internet service platforms would be required to introduce features that would protect minors and their data, restrict communication from non-minors, disable addictive product features such as autoplay for videos and platform rewards, also require internet service platforms to default to the highest possible privacy settings for accounts that belong to minors. So yeah, a lot of the same stuff on this. I'm not sure about age restrictions, I'm not sure about any of that, but it seems like YouTube are already complying with the age restriction stuff. They are already introducing that in the US, it looks like. So it does seem like that's the way it's going. But then we've got this. Then we've got this.
I saw Chibi Reviewers tweet that Congress is trying to pass a bill called Kids Online Safety Act and drop a video. Oh, look, I think that kids should not be on... I think all social media websites should be read-only, and you should only be able to access them if you use a government ID. And it should be checked by a third-party website. And if you're not above the age of consent...
So he literally just is in favor of the UK system now. He just said the UK system. Terrible way of doing it, by the way. It should just be handled by the government. But that is just what the UK's done. You just support it because Trump's doing it.
At like 18 in America, you shouldn't be able to use the social media website. Yep, and I'm totally fine with kids getting on the internet, not making accounts. But whenever read only. Well, hold on. Everybody says L. Can you give me the benefit of a 15-year-old girl on Instagram? What's the benefit there? Why should underage minors be on Instagram? There's no benefit. It opens them up for abuse, predatory behavior. How do you think all these girls know to make an OnlyFans when they turn 18? It's because they've had guys on Instagram and social media telling them that while they're underage.
Dude.
No. It's not good. I've got no problem.
It's totally switched.
No issue at all with kids going on the internet. But to make an account and allow yourself to receive and send messages from individuals, that's different, especially on social media.
I mean, I do agree with that take fundamentally, but you have just described the new UK system. Fundamentally, I agree with that take. They should be blanket banned from social media. But for the ID verification, you've described the UK system, and that's a terrible system. So, just totally cannot be on board with that. Crazy, though. Crazy. Zero self-awareness whatsoever. Crazy. I think there was a politics joke about this, wasn't there?
We are moving.
We'll cap off a sort of online safety segment with this video. So apparently some Labour minister basically said Nigel Farage came out opposing the Online Safety Act. And some Labour minister said he was like Team Savile or something like that. basically implied that he was like a pedophile or protecting pedophiles because he didn't want these new safety restrictions.
Around the online safety bill has remained as measured as your DMs.
Yeah.
Of course. With Peter Kyle saying that Nigel Farage is on the side of Jimmy Savile.
Well, do you know what? You don't ever want to be there, do you?
On Jimmy Savile's side?
Do you know, like, if you had to approach Jimmy Savile with the nuance that you have to approach, like, other news stories?
There's good arguments on all sides.
And you're like, he brought a lot of cash for the hospitals.
Wonderful charity.
Okay, man.
Can we put that in?
Yeah. It's funny. But it was just like, something about it. Like, there's been a lot of people being like, oh my God, like, well, that's obviously it's an outrageous thing to say. But we do say quite a lot that Labour do need to get down and dirty. They need to bring.
You're just not on this topic. This is just a gay way to go about it. This just sucks as a way to go about. Like you're crying. Oh, you care about free speech? You're a pedophile. It's like, yeah, you're not winning anyone over that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Nuclear missile.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they brought that F-35. But do you know what's funny? They really doubled down on it. Yeah. So someone told me this morning. I could say, well, yeah, another newspaper journalist this morning said that Labour had actually been offering op-eds yesterday on like why Nigel Farage is a pedo.
What?
Can you believe that?
Okay, media strategy suddenly changing the Labour Party. This could be promising. This could be promising. Actually, we're just going to call Nigel Farage a pedophile. We could still win. This is how we could still win the next election.
That's the thing, I guess, about libel or whatever. It's mud sticks. Like, it's such an outrageous thing to do. Because obviously, like, there's lots of reasons to oppose the online safety bill. For instance, if you want to go on the subreddit for beer, you have to submit your ID. You can't just log on to r/beer now, which is crazy.
Well,
like,
good. It's harmful.
Beer, just discussions of beer is harmful to children.
Yeah, very harmful.
Right. I'm not sure what...
You can't get onto the r/sexual assault Reddit either without... So, like, the subreddit that is for people who have experienced sexual assault, survivors of it, to go on and to talk about their experiences and meet a community, because a lot of the time people do find themselves, well, siphoned, or, you know, they don't feel that they can speak to the people in their immediate life. So they might go onto this subreddit to find other survivors who they can seek wisdom from. Not anymore, pal.
No.
Very harmful.
You need to tell Reddit who you are and that you've been sexually assaulted. Nigel I was outraged by being accused of being...
Would you not be angry?
Of course.
Would you not be angry? Do you know what I find interesting about this? So I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, so Boris Johnson, I actually think it might have did it happen in the chamber? Anyway, Boris Johnson said that Keir Starmer had basically been in cahoots with Jimmy Savile.
Oh yeah, it doesn't PM cute.
Yeah, it was, crazy. Wasn't it? Because obviously Keir Starmer was, I keep wanting to say he was head of DPD. Listen, he was the CEO of DPP. So head of the CPS. And there were, there were a few news articles at the time floating around that were accusations had been coming up from Surrey. I think there was a home in Staines where an accusation had come forward and that had crossed Keir Starmer's desk while he was head of the CPS, allegedly. And so Boris Johnson just went full throttle and was like, well, he loves Jimmy Savile.
Yes, and that was outrageous at the time.
Well, I do remember, for some reason, I was down there that day. I can't remember. I think we might have been covering something else. And I remember Starmer leaving Portcullis House, and it was actually quite frightening.
Oh, there was like a mob, wasn't there?
There was a mob, yeah. It was a real, they really leapt onto him, like people did. Because, look, controversial opinion, Jimmy Savile, bad. Pedos, bad. Being associated with them, bad.
Yeah, and it also it's the stink of the kind of bizarre. You know, like Jimmy Savile completely passed us by. Like we look at him now, and like you let this man be the most famous man in the world.
You look at him and you go, who was in charge of that decision?
What the fuck are you talking about? He had a TV show. He worked with children. Like you look at that man and you're like, who let this? But then you remember it's the BBC, so it makes sense. But then
he was wearing that big cigar. What smoking that big cigar? Sorry.
Yeah. But the kind of the echelons and the people that Savile like worked with and was seen in the company of, it's like it stinks of like, or it smacks of every sort of like conspiratorial thought about like the establishment, and like it kind of leads into like, do you remember the?
I mean, they say that, but
like
I feel like Epstein more embodies that. No. Like, Savile doesn't really touch on Israel or anything like that. I feel like Epstein is far more the archetypal elite pedo ring guy.
Like this disproven like Westminster sex ring, child sex abuse thing.
Yes.
In the 80s.
I want to call him
Carl Beach.
Carl Beach, yeah.
Where like one just fantasist just lies about being like passed around like MPs and stuff like that.
I tell you what, Tom Watson never got over that. Because Tom Watson, who was, he had the role of that Angela Rayner has now, didn't he? Shadow to, Jeremy Corbyn, and he'd backed Carl Beach. I think that, you know, that it ruined that MP's life. You know, it ruined his life.
One of them, his wife died before it came out that was completely untrue.
I think, didn't he pass or something like that though as well before it?
There was a few to be true.
It was, I mean, it was horrendous.
Just a complete fantasist who turned out to have been like a nonce himself. Like, it's completely just total fantasy. But that's why I think that's why the Savile line is so powerful. Is it's just what because it smacks of you being in cahoots with like a web of like dark masters almost who are like putting British children into like unimaginable circumstances.
I don't know if this is coming out of it because it was a very odd person to deliver that line, Peter Kyle. Yeah. I would say that he is normally a rather measured cabinet member. You know, he is getting that sort of line out of him would be rather extraordinary. You know, I think that we, you know, even in interviews that we've done with him, like we interviewed him when Alistair Strathern took the seat from Nadine Dorries. Do you remember that? And that was at a time where Labour they weren't expected to win that, but they were sort of on the up again. You know, they were coming out of Boris Johnson era, and Labour was sort of, oh, actually, I think we've got a bit of momentum again. Yeah. And even then, the interview he gave was very measured about Nadine. He wasn't rude about her. He was very, you know.
Yeah.
So to hear him come out with this Savile line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys pedophile rings suck so bad you're importing American ones. That's facts.
There's something going on, isn't there? Where there is a real pandering to the Telegraph and actually not to the Telegraph. That's not fair. There's a real pandering to the Sun.
Yep.
I mean, even that op-ed being offered to the Sun yesterday. I don't really understand the strategy of Labour at the moment. It kind of almost feels like they're sort of mice in milk fighting to make it cheese. You know,
mice in milk.
You like kind of drowning, you know, they're churning.
Did you just make that up?
Well, I adopted like, you know, the mice and butter thing. No?
Don't know that either.
No? Anyone know that one? No?
That's great.
Well, anyway,
that
okay.
was wonderful.
All right, thanks.
What an image.
Thank you. My degree cost £50,000 in English literature.
Okay.
Finally, some payoff. None of this is going to convince the minds of people who the Sun readers, right? The Sun reader is never going to vote for you. They might have done at the last election because they were very, very angry at the Conservatives, but faced with the prospect of the Reform Party, they are not going to vote for you. You look back at what Keir Starmer did with the echoing the Rivers of Blood speech from Enoch Powell, and we said at the time that smacked of a pandering to the sort of the racist and the xenophobic drivel that a lot of these tabloids like to pump out. And it was like he was trying to sort of corner a few of those voters or constituents. You're never, ever going to be racist enough for these people, and you're never going to be xenophobic enough. So actually, there's not really much point in bothering trying to get into that dialogue. And I think that's the same thing with the Jimmy Savile line. You know, you're never going to hate nonces enough for these people, unless you hang them.
You've been watching a clip from the Politics Joe podcast. If you'd like to watch the rest, please head to patreon.com/Politics Joe. It's the only place.
Awesome stuff. Wait, they had fucking Gary's Economics on leading with Rory and Alistair? Oh my god. Dude, we've got so much content to work through on Kick over the next week.